On this day in history, May 22nd, 1455, the Wars of the Roses begins. Before the Tudors, before King Henry VIII's 6 wives, before Elizabeth I's golden age, England was basically in a 30-year family brawl from hell. Before the Tudors, before King Henry VIII's 6 wives, before Elizabeth I's golden age, England was basically in a 30-year family brawl from hell. 2 royal houses, York and Lancaster, clawed their way to the crown in what historians later dubbed the Wars of the Roses. This was less of a war and more of a messy, violent breakup that just kept going. Welcome to the ultimate power struggle, where kings crumbled, queens took names, and no one died peacefully in their bed. But before we get into the story, let's check the vibe. The vibe? Life was hard in the 15th century, hierarchical, and medieval as hell. Most people lived in rural villages, worked hard on the land, and rarely traveled more than a few miles from their home, while the nobility was busy scheming, feasting, and wearing absurdly pointy shoes. The average person was a farmer or laborer. Days were long, homes were smoky, one-room huts, and meat was a luxury. Illness, famine, and war were constant threats, but festival and church events gave the folks something to look forward to. Now, the nobles and royals, these were the power players, landowners, soldiers, and political operators. They lived in stone manors or castles, had better diets, hello roasted swan, and were constantly navigating marriages, alliances, and deadly ambitions. The church dominated life. It shaped everything: education, politics, morality, you name it. People feared hell, loved saints, and filled their days with prayer, pilgrimage, and superstition. In tech and culture, the printing press was just starting to creep in, but literacy was rare and most news traveled by gossip or messenger. Armor and swords were still the default, but gunpowder was starting to make its way onto the battlefield via the cannon. In short, life was rough, survival was a grind, and politics were bloody. But if you were lucky, or royal, there was a hell of a lot of drama and wine. Now let's get into it. So it's the mid-1400s in England, and the crown is basically a hot potato that nobody can hold on to. Enter House Lancaster, think red rose, shaky grip on power, and an emotionally unstable king. And House York, think white rose, big ambitions, and bigger egos. King Henry VI of House of Lancaster, sweet guy, not exactly CEO material, starts losing his grip, both politically and mentally. He quite literally zones out, the kingdom spirals, and the nobles start whispering, do we really even need this guy in charge? Oh, yeah, he'll be fine. I got this. Look. See? He's fine. Oh, shit. Cue Richard, Duke of York, who struts in like, I've got better royal blood, a functioning brain, and more support. You look good. You look damn good. What begins as political maneuvering turns into swords, schemes, and sabotage. By 1455, it's full-blown chaos. The First Battle of St. Albans pops off, and the roses suddenly aren't just decorative. They're badges in a deadly Game of Thrones. So the Yorkists take the first victory and take King Henry captive, respectfully, because rather than seize the crown, the Duke of York reasserts himself in the role of protector of the realm to step in while King Henry battles with bouts of mental illness. It's a pretty political move, don't you think? Because at this time, King Henry VI had checked out mentally. The man literally had catatonic episodes. So guess who steps up? His queen, Margaret of Anjou. Bless you. With her husband out of commission, she ran the country, and she was efficient and ruthless. So they say. Chris, 2 p.m. Change the next day. What? No, I said 3 dozen. Yes, don't call it yet. I was in Mexico then. I don't know if she ever came back or not. Sweetheart. She raised armies, crushed her enemies, and didn't blink at bloodshed. Basically, she was a mix of Lady Macbeth and Cersei Lannister, but with a French accent and better armor. So Margaret's like, oh, Richard of York thinks he can just snatch the crown while my dear sweet husband is taking a nap? I don't think so, Dick. So she rallies the Lancastrians, builds an army, and becomes the de facto ruler while Henry drifts in and out of awareness like a glitchy NPC. She basically leads the Lancastrian resistance, battling York's influence and defending her son's right to inherit. While some nobles side-eye her because, ugh, woman in power, she doesn't let that stop her. But old tricky dicky Richard Duke of York doesn't back down. He wins battles, makes demands, and at one point even gets declared heir to the throne. But before he can book his coronation brunch, Margaret sends troops, and he gets decapitated in 1460. Oops. Enter his 18-year-old son, Edward of York. He's tall, charming, war-hardened, and big mad about Dad's head on a spike.